Mark Steyn is a longtime news watcher, an author, and a columnist, and he joins us tonight. Why? I'm wondering this. They put their crack investigators on the question of who made this dumb internet GIF. Why not find out where al-Baghdadi is or something?
Yeah.
If you're that good at finding stuff.
Right, that's what your investigative unit should be doing. This guy is entirely tangential to it. The way things work on the internet is somebody sends somebody a picture, and that person emails it to somebody else, and that person tweets it to somebody else, and 37,000 links later, it's become a thing, and nobody cares who created it or what other content he has created. Even if you accept that Chris Cuomo's definition of hate speech and bigoted and racist and anti-Semitic material ought to be the standard applied across the internet. Basically, a major news organization is policing some no-name schlub's internet content and threatening to reveal his identity if he transgresses their particular standards. That's completely nuts. I mean, Wolf Blitzer has basically put a horse's head in this guy's bed. And I don't know how this happened. CNN was like the world's most boring cable network just a month ago. Now it's behaving more and more nuttily each day.
So, that's too good. So, but, I mean, they seem to have come up with this kind of remarkable standard. They said, look, we're not releasing the guy's name because it would be a threat to his safety, presumably his physical safety. Right. But we're going to release his name if he says something we don't like. Now, people are calling that blackmail. Right. I don't know if it's blackmail exactly, but it's pretty weird for a news organization to, in effect, threaten harm if someone doesn't do what they say.
Well, the name is either newsworthy or it's not. But he got the message, they contacted him, and he immediately takes down all his internet posts. Now, I'm not a great believer in anonymity on the internet. I get tired of being called out by some twerp who has, you know, some butch name and an avatar from Game of Thrones, but he thinks that I'm not being manly enough on the internet. I'm not a particular fan of internet anonymity. But this guy got the message. He understands that CNN is watching him. So that if he were to make another anti-CNN GIF, another anti-CNN tweet, then they would release the fact that he's got a $500 lien on his home for unpaid property taxes, or his car was seen last Tuesday night parked outside Madame Fifi's bondage parlor. This is a ridiculous way for a news organization to behave, but the threat of people like Chris, and the idea, by the way, of Chris Cuomo and other CNN anchors saying, oh, we're so relieved. At last, you know, there were physical threats to our safety, and at last we're all relieved because now we've got the goods on this guy and we can sleep at night and journalists are free to walk the streets once more. Get lost, you creeps. The 5th anniversary of the Danish cartoons, I appeared on stage with 5 other people. Of those 5 other people I was on stage with in Copenhagen for the 5th anniversary of the Danish Mohammed cartoons, one was shot at point-blank range, the other had his event shot up, and 2 people were killed, another was forced out of public life entirely, and the 4th had her family's restaurant firebombed. Those are real threats against media figures that go on in Europe right now. The idea that reworking a joke that everyone knows is a joke is a threat to Chris Cuomo's safety is the most narcissistic, solipsistic act of navel-gazing by a profession that is already so self-obsessed, nobody who isn't in the media can stand the media.
That's so nicely put. And the sense of humor is always the first thing to go. That's always the sign you've completely lost perspective. CNN has Ministry of Truth. Mark Steyn, God bless you for coming on. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.